Good.
Welcome to the Center for Spirituality in Boulder Valley. Welcome to Facebook Live. Who would have thought we would be doing this? I'm going to sit down because that way I won't get tangled up in this wire and knock it off my face, and you'll still be able to hear me. So I'm so grateful to be here today and be able to talk to you from this center, knowing that each one of you are connected here. And I want to start out today by going through a few announcements. Let me get these over here. We have a few things still going on, even though we're not meeting here at the center particularly, but we are still trying to gather goods for our Sister Carmen. That's our monthly outreach this month, and if you have something you would like to bring, just bring it and set it outside the door. Somebody will get it inside and we'll get it delivered. More importantly, Reverend Lea, this is her last Sunday. You know, everybody wants to be here, wants to hug her, wants to love her. You're just going to have to send that love through the ethers right now and give her everything that we have, because we love her and she loves us. So it's a process that will be going on and on for quite a while. She's not going to be gone. She's just not going to be here. So feel free to reach out anytime you can. Next week, we're doing Facebook Live again, and Kelly Robbins is going to be the speaker. She'll be doing that from our home. Today we're here in the center. There's a few of us, Chris and my wife Barbara's holding Conscience in the back, and Leah and Val's over here, and Greg. There's just a few people here to support what we have to do to make sure this happens and we get everything needed. Next week, on third Thursday, as you can see up on the bulletin up here, Jay is going to be doing his Thursday night talk on Zoom. There's an email at the bottom of the slide, jbirch333@gmail.com. He's going to be doing this. He's going to be reaching out to lots of people. There's going to be lots of people on Zoom to hear his talk. Make sure you check in with him, get the link, and get everything set up in advance. In 2 weeks, we're going to have Eugene Holden as a speaker. We love his music, but he is full of wisdom. Please check in with that. We don't know if that's going to be on Facebook Live yet or not, but we will keep you informed. Upcoming changes. We'll be using Facebook Live from now on until the government, CDC, Colorado State, tells us that we can do something different. We're not meeting in large groups. We're keeping in line with social distancing, and so everybody sits apart if they're around each other, unless you're already in a family situation. For classes and workshops, we're going to be using Zoom, and we're going to be having prayer support via phone, or sometimes we'll be able to FaceTime or Zoom with somebody if they want that. The board and our lead practitioner, Kelly Robbins, will be working to create more ways for the community to connect during this time. And so I do want to say thank you for everybody that's here helping out. Val with the beautiful music, Leah with the great talk, and Chris doing the sound, trying to make Facebook Live work for everybody. We're wondering if Facebook Live is working for everybody because we thought about all the churches in this time zone. They're all meeting right now and trying to do the same thing. So we'll find out if there's any problems later on. But as we are a church, let's just start this morning with a little quiet time, a little moment of inspiration. As we start our day, take a deep breath. Just know the divine presence that is the connection we each have with each other is here right now. It is throughout this community, wherever we are. It is around the world, creating a place where people come together with their hearts open and living the life of the divine in each and every moment. Today, here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Boulder Valley, love lives here. It lives here because of each of you being who you are, being that divine presence, that essence of God in each and every moment of your lives. Today, I know that we as a community support everyone on this planet, creating a safer space for everyone and allowing a place where people can have their needs met and be safe. We are living in an environment where we're all moving apart and yet we're all coming together. I know today that we are in the hands of God. We are being nurtured, we're being supported, and in each and every way that we can imagine, that presence lifts us up and allows us to be exactly who we need to be. I just let this go knowing that everything is done in the exact right time, and so it is. And because not everything's the same, we're going to move right into our purpose, our mission, and vision. And so, wherever you are, feeling comfortable with yourself, please say this with me. Our purpose: celebrating divinity, embracing humanity, and creating community. Our mission: providing tools and support to awaken our community to its spiritual magnificence. And our vision: inspiring and uplifting every one of us to transform the world. Ah, yes, just breathe that in. That's who we are. And now, as you see over my shoulder here, the candle in the background representing the Christ consciousness within each one of us, the light within each one of you. Know that that is present all the time, and you don't even have to close your eyes to see it, because it shines all around you. And so, I have several short readings in support of Reverend Leah's message today. And the first one is from Matthew Fox. When the sacred masculine is combined with the sacred feminine inside of each one of us, we create a sacred marriage of compassion and passion in ourselves. The fear of this delicate and fierce feminine has more to do with our fear of being vulnerable again, getting hurt again, than it does by our actual distaste for the beauty of the feminine and her qualities. Alanis and more so. Women are emotional in order to feel the divine energy at the highest levels and be supreme healers and lovers and mothers. Not to drive men insane. Her deep spiritual connection to feelings is to inspire a man to his spiritual heights as well. She is an oracle. That is from Rosh Hashanah. And finally, from Maya Angelou, a woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense, and arrives at her destination prepared to be herself, and only herself. present today within each one of us and each person around the world, lifting us up, guiding us forward, and allowing us to live the life that truly is of love. I know today we are all gathered in our own ways to recognize the miracle of the divine as it moves through each person around the world, allowing each person to feel that vibration, to be that vibration, and move in such a way as to allow that essence to be brought forward in everything that we do. I know that this center is a place where love lives. I know that wherever there is dis-ease, there is God, that healing presence that allows us to feel and be who we are, that allows us to live our best life in these bodies as a perfect spiritual being. I know that whatever is going on in the world, the answer is God. For this I give great thanks. I know that that gratitude is overflowing in my heart and moving outward in the world, healing in its own way. And I just let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
Morning. What an interesting time we are in. I thank you all for joining us live wherever you are at home. Hope you're enjoying sitting with your coffee and just relaxing at home on your couch or on your bed or wherever that may be. And this is an interesting time, but we're so grateful. I'm so grateful for technology. Yes, what an amazing thing we have to be able to still connect and tune in to people no matter where you are in the world. So thank you for being here. So as I was preparing for my last talk at this beloved center, I was thinking about what would be most appropriate. And the topic that came to me was, we are born to fly. And I chose that topic because as I thought back to my own life and what I have gone through and what I've experienced, it seemed appropriate, not only for me, but for the center and for where we are at and for what is taking place here. You will see me, I will look around, there's a few beings in the room. It seems strange to only look at the camera, so I will glance and connect. Thank you for those of you who are here. We have a few souls who have shown up. Yeah. So I'll share a little bit of my own story. I may have shared some of this in the past. I grew up with parents who worked in the service industry. My mother was a cocktail waitress, my father was a bartender. My dad dropped out of high school when he was a sophomore. There was a lot of prejudice during that time. He grew up in the 30s and he just had enough. So he dropped out and went to work, and then he ended up going to war, actually. Never went to college. My mom also didn't go to college. As I grew up and observed them and watched them in their life, I noticed the regrets that they held. I noticed that for them, not that there was anything wrong with the path that they chose, but I could tell that they weren't living up to their fullest potential. I knew that. And so at a very young age, I made a decision. I made a decision that I would live my life to its fullest. That I would go to college, that I would discover what my passions were, what my purpose was, the things that I loved, and I would do whatever it took to figure that out. And so I set out on a journey to figure out my purpose. And that led me to career counseling, a 20-year career as a career counselor. And through that work, I became a teacher and a guide and a counselor to thousands of people over the last 20 years, and what a blessing that has been. But it always felt like something was missing. It always felt like there was, I loved it, but there was something that was not quite there, that I wasn't living up to my fullest potential. And so I prayed about this, and I spent a lot of time asking God, what am I supposed to be doing? What is that thing? And then one day, I got the call to be a minister. And that feeling that something was missing was no longer there. It went away, it vanished completely. And I remember the first time that it was even grounded it even more, that I knew I was supposed to be a pulpit minister. Our sanctuary was facing the other direction, so I was standing over here. I'm pointing, you know where I'm pointing to, but I remember this. And some of you were here that day. And I stood up, and although I was really nervous, I was scared, but yet the moment I stood up, I knew this is what I was meant to do. I absolutely knew, without a shadow of a doubt. I also knew that this was my home. I remember the first time I walked into this center and how much people embraced me and loved me and said, welcome. Some of the folks here I knew, I've had relationships with way beyond, way before I walked in these doors. But as I stepped foot into this sanctuary, I knew this was my home. This was my home. And it's where I've been for 4 years. And I started out in ministerial school, and I was a platform practitioner, and I remember standing up there, fumbling, forgetting to hit the gong, and forgetting the order of things. And yet you all just loved me. You embraced me, you loved me, you forgave me for the mistakes I made, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that. What a journey it has been over 4 years. And then I moved into, became a minister, was the assistant minister, and for the last five and a half months, I've been your senior minister. And there's some things I want to acknowledge about that. I've learned some things, particularly over the last 2 months. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So one of the things that I want to acknowledge, and I want to say this to the community because it's important for me to say this. When I made my decision to leave CSL Boulder Valley and to accept the position at New Thought Northern Colorado in Loveland, it was not an easy decision. And prior to that even happening, I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling completely overwhelmed. And I didn't know what I should do about that. I sat with it, I prayed about it, I thought a lot about it, But I didn't say it to you. I didn't say it to the community because I did not want to admit that I didn't have my you-know-what together. I did not want to admit that. I am a perfectionist. Those that know me well know this about me. Maybe you can tell. I am a perfectionist, and I didn't want to admit that I couldn't do this. I sat up here, I stood up here when I first accepted this role and said, I've got this, we've got this, I know, I just thought I can do this. I really believe that. And it wasn't too long after I was in the role when I realized, wow, I don't think I can. I was taking on a lot between my job at CU and here, and I realized pretty quickly that this was not sustainable for me. And so I want to own that and apologize to you for not acknowledging that, for not being transparent about my challenges and what I was going through. Because as someone said to me so eloquently just last week, he said, we value you, Lea, and you didn't value us by not being transparent with us. So as I stand here right now, I want to just say that and acknowledge that and own that. And I am sorry. I am sorry I didn't value you enough to be honest with you all. The other thing that's been brought to my attention is the fact that I'm leaving so soon, meaning that I gave a 2-month notice. I didn't give a 6-month notice. Someone said to me this week too, Lea, why didn't you just stay for another 6 months? Yeah. So here's what you also should know, is that that was initially my plan. And I did talk to some folks. I talked to Reverend Gregory Toole. I talked to Reverend Marcia Magnapower. And I told them, I said, well, I could stay another 6 months and I can let them know that I'm leaving, but give 6-month notice. And they both said, don't do that. Because what's going to happen is you're going to gently, maybe not so gently, tear that Band-Aid off over 6 months. Don't do that. They both said, in fact, Gregory said, give a 4-week notice. I thought, wow, that's kind of intense. And Marcia said 6 to 8. So I chose 8 weeks. And so I wanted to explain that. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. But more importantly, is that this decision to leave this beloved community came from guidance from within me. It came from spirit. It came from a place deep within me that I would be completely out of integrity if I didn't follow that. And so, although yes, indeed, I am so sorry. I am sorry for any pain that I have caused anybody here with my decision and what I am deciding to do and moving forward. I am deeply sorry for that. But also know that I live my life from a place of integrity, meaning that it would have been out of integrity for me if I had done it any differently. Going back to my childhood and the decision I made at a young age, I made a decision to myself that I would play full out, that I would make decisions and choices that aligned with that greater self within me, that greater truth within me. And sometimes we are called in a direction that others just don't agree with. And yet, it's our choice to follow that. And sometimes that fear gets in there and it prevents us from being able to follow that. But for me, as you all, I think, know me, I recognize the fear. There has been fear present, I will absolutely tell you. And yet, for me, it would have been out of integrity for me to not push forward in the face of that. All of us have something in our life that is calling us. Every single one of us. Every single one of us has something that has come through to us at some point or another. Just as this has come to me. I planted a seed. A year ago, I was asked to speak at Columbine Unity. I stood up there and I said to Joe T when I came back, this is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm going to be. this is what I'm going to be doing. And she looked at me and was like, okay. And my vision was we would blow this center up, and that's the level we would take it to the size of Columbine Unity. It might have been a few years down the road, but I was clear. I planted a seed. And there's no mistakes that a year later, Reverend Barbara Bew and Jenny Illig came to me and said, here's a proposal we have for you. So this vision has manifested itself. And again, for me to ignore that, that's not where I'm at. That's not where I'm at. So for each of us, when have you been called to something? When have you in your life, that call that has come and you have set it aside because of fear of what others think of you, because of fear of what might happen if you say yes to that? How many times have you set aside something and not paid attention to that, and it keeps nudging you, but you set it aside because of fear, because of what others might say, because of what others might think? We're so afraid of failing. And what is so bad about failing? What is so bad about making mistakes? These last 2 months, boy, I have had people come up to me and tell me that what I'm doing is wrong, that tell me what I'm doing is not okay. And that has been not easy. I will tell you that. I've gotten to the point where I just want to say, okay, I'm going to hold the bucket, and you just tell me what you think I'm doing wrong here. I'm going to hold this bucket, but I've gotten stronger in that. My beloved Greg has held me as I have cried many times over the last 2 months, and I have questioned this. And yet I always come back to, no, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. And if it weren't for the guidance of Spirit, this would have never happened. And so I invite you to do the same in your life, to do exactly the same. One of my favorite quotes is by Theodore Roosevelt. And this is a quote that I have put on my bulletin boards and I've taken from office to office to office all these years. It's faded, it's got the pinholes at the top, and it truly, truly exemplifies what I've been talking about. So I'm going to read it. It is not the critic who counts, not the person who points out how the strong person stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the person who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends themselves in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Such a powerful, powerful quote, such a powerful passage that reminds us, do we want to stand in the arena? Do we want to be on the court? Or do we want to be in the stands watching and observing our life? None of us were meant to be in the stands. Every single one of us were born to fly. Every single one of us were born to express our greatness. But it is always a choice. And yes, we may fail. And yes, we may fall flat on our faces. And yes, we may have people who criticize us and say and question us, how could you do this? You have hurt me by your decision and your choice. And that may be so. And yet only we know what we need to do to stand in our power, to stand in our truth, and to honor that. And if we continue to say yes to that part of ourselves, what is possible for our lives? What is possible for us the more we say yes to that? I can only tell you that as I have done that for myself, I am standing in that. That yes, it has been hard at times, and boy, has it been challenging these last 2 months as I have said yes to my next higher calling. And yet, as I stand here stronger. I stand here more confident. I stand here knowing that I am honoring who I am. And I encourage each of you to do the same. Because that fear of failure, that is never going to go away. That fear is never going to go away. We are human, and fear always comes in. But are we going to listen to that voice that says, we're not good enough, I can't do it, I'm too old, or whatever that is? Are we going to listen to that voice? Or are we going to honor the truth within us? Are we going to honor that greater truth within us? That guidance that we are receiving from Spirit that pushes us or calls us in another direction? We always have a choice. We always have a choice to step through this doorway. There's a doorway that's being created, and as you think about this community, this magnificent community, a doorway is also showing up here. It's a threshold upon which to cross, to step into what's the next highest and greatest for this community. So there's an opportunity here, not just for each of us individually, but for this entire community to step through that doorway. An opportunity to fly. As I was preparing for this talk, I was thinking about, wow, so here I'm leaving, and there are no mistakes, that things are happening exactly the way they are. As I walk out of here for the last time, what I'm envisioning is that what it's doing is it's providing an opening for another minister to come in, and someday you're all going to say, oh my goodness, we were so bummed that Lea left. And yet, because she left, it created an opening for this other amazing minister to step in. Better than anybody who has come before. Isn't that possible? Absolutely. So I invite you to hold that. Yes, I know this is hard. And yet, isn't it possible that there is an opening that's being created for someone else to come in that is even more extraordinary than anybody who has come before and is even more perfect for this community? That's what I'm holding. Another one of my favorite quotes is by a Raya Mountain Dreamer. This one is part of a longer passage, and this is another one that I turn to again and again and again. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. That's powerful. Because, as I was saying, we get so caught up in disappointing somebody, and we make choices based on that. And yet, when we make choices to pursue something in the face, at the risk of people saying to you, you've betrayed me. And yet, when we move forward anyway, and we can stand powerfully in ourselves, we can stand powerfully in our truth, because we know who we are, we then will not betray our own soul. Our soul is always guiding us. Our soul is always directing us, supporting us in doing what we were meant to do. Every single one of us on this planet, we came into this life with a purpose. We came into this life with some way, something that is here to move through us. But we have to be willing to listen, to tune into it, to get quiet. What is your soul calling you to do? And then following it. Even at the risk of people criticizing you, even at the risk of people questioning you, even at the risk of people saying, what are you thinking? Mm-hmm. Only we know only we know what is right. Bishop Yvette Flunder said this, "There's no room for us to be anything other than our authentic selves." What is authentic for you? What is authentic for you is different than what's authentic for me. But it's about paying attention to that so that we stay in integrity with ourselves. And that's really, really all that matters. And I'm not saying to make choices and decisions intentionally to hurt people, but if we are aligned with spirit, if we are tapped into our soul's guidance and calling, there is no such thing as a mistake. There is no such thing as failing. There's no such thing as disrupting things, because truly we are honoring ourselves. Now, people may not agree with what we're doing. People may not like what we're doing. And as beings on this planet, that is also our work, isn't it? That is certainly my work, to walk this journey and to make choices that align with who I am and not worry so much about what people think. That's a hard one as humans. Boy, that's a hard one. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey indeed. So as we honor that part of us that wants to fly, that part of us that is calling, we're feeling that calling, we're tapping into that, we're noticing it, and as that comes to life within us, there's things that to let go of. There's things that need to be shed. There's things that need to be released in order for us to take action in our lives, in order for us to actually say yes to that vision that's coming through us. We have to be willing to let go. What needs to be shed? What needs to be let go of? What needs to be released? As a community, as you are in this transition together, what needs to be released and let go of in order for you to move forward powerfully as a community? And individually, what do you need to shed or let go of? What is standing in the way of you stepping into your power, stepping into your truth? What needs to be released? As I was preparing for my talk, and I was sharing with Val, who has been doing incredible music as part of our service today. Thank you, Val. She came up to me and she didn't even know what I was going to be doing. She didn't know the title of my talk. She didn't know, but she said, as she often does, "Lea, can you just hear me? I want to recite a poem to you." She came up to me in the sanctuary after service one day, and I said, "Absolutely, I will hear you." And she said this amazing poem. And I thought, I need you to come and do this on my last service. And of course, she said it would be an honor. So I'm going to bring Val up here to recite her poem and to play more flute for us.
My feathers replaced today. Along my shoulders and the back of my neck, the old ones hardly catching the currents anymore. I'd forgotten to molt and hung on to everything I'd ever had. Today I let go. Pluck the disheveled and replace them with the grand. Part angel, part great blue heron, and downy owl feathers along my spine. I don the talon feet of hawk, firm, relaxed, unfettered by storms. I see the moon different. Shadows as friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Belle. That was beautiful. Yeah, and so as her poem so beautifully stated, we hang on to things, we hang on to these feathers that really we should be letting go of. Birds naturally molt so that new feathers can come through them. And how often in our lives do we hang on to things, gripping to fear, gripping to things that are ready to be released, and we hang on so tightly for fear of what might come or for fear of what may happen. These feathers, I'm going to show you one. So if you were here in the sanctuary, I would have given everybody a feather. The feather represents so many things. It represents what we are letting go of, but it also represents, more importantly, that we were born to fly. We were born to express all that we are. We were born to unite with that vision within our heart, that calling that is within each of us, and to express and extend our wings and to fly towards the very thing that is calling each of us. And so know that this is what this represents. It truly represents all of that. One of my greatest teachers that I often refer to, and I have mentioned his name many times here, is Matt Kahn. And one of the things he talks about is as we are letting go of things, there is always that thing that wants to emerge as a result of it. As we let go, there is always something that is coming through. And so I'm going to repeat some statements, and I'm going to have you, wherever you are at home, I'm going to have you say these out loud as you hear me say them. And as I speak them, I want you to really hold them in your being, really embody what I'm saying. So repeat after me. I accept.
I accept
That when I am sad,
that when I am sad,
I'm clearing out stagnant energy
I am clearing out stagnant energy
and building up the momentum
and building up the momentum
to welcome the experience of happiness.
to welcome the experience of happiness.
Every time I feel fear,
Every time I feel fear,
I'm clearing old energy
I'm clearing old energy
and making room to welcome
and making room to welcome
greater moments of courage.
greater moments of courage.
Every time I'm angry,
Every time I'm angry,
I'm clearing out old energy
I'm clearing out old energy
and making room to welcome
and making room to welcome
greater moments of passion.
greater moments of passion.
Every time I act from ego,
Every time I act from ego,
I'm clearing out old energy
I'm clearing out old energy
and creating greater space
and creating greater space
for my soul to emerge.
for my soul to emerge.
And I accept
And I accept
that any moment of darkness
that any moment of darkness
is creating more space for light.
is creating more space for light.
And any moment of unconsciousness
And any moment of unconsciousness
is creating greater space for consciousness
is creating greater space for consciousness
and for the hero within me to dawn.
and for the hero within me to die.
So just closing your eyes for a moment, just taking that in. Such powerful statements. Acknowledging this journey, acknowledging all that we experience as humans. And knowing that as we are moving through whatever we are moving through, it is allowing something even greater to emerge, something even greater to move through each of us. And so I'm going to take us through a meditation now as we come to a close. And so I just invite you to keep your eyes closed. And just notice within your being anything that you're holding on to. Any residual of anything that perhaps you're holding on to in your life related to the center, related to the pandemic that is happening. Just notice what you might be holding on to, what's gripping you. Notice it in your body. Notice it and where it lands in your body. Just notice it without judgment, just noticing. And just take a breath. Just allow that to be there in this moment. Just allow it. Just taking a breath and just feeling it. And notice now this beautiful, brilliant light in front of you. And this light represents the divine. This light represents that power and beauty and grace of God, and it is right there in front of you. So in your mind's eye, just notice this brilliant light that contains all the qualities of God. It contains love and harmony and grace and peace and joy. See this brilliant light radiating all of this. And now as you are present to those things that are gripping you, those things that you are holding on to, the things that you are ready to release, see yourself handing this over to that brilliant light and allow this light of source, the open arms of source, to just receive it, to just take it. And we call in our angels and our guides and our helpers to come and transform and heal all that we are ready to let go of in this moment. All that represents everything we're hanging on to regarding the center and the future of this center, regarding the coronavirus, regarding the health of our planet, regarding whatever it is that you are hanging on to. Hand it over to God. Hand it over to the divine, to that brilliant light right here in this moment. Hand it over. And see that light enveloping it. See that light holding it. See that light transforming it. Completely transforming it. Know that you are being called to something greater. Know that as you release this, you are saying yes to your life in a greater way. You are saying yes to what is possible for your life. You are moving into that greatest potential that you are. And so say yes to that. Know that this divine presence of God is there to support you through all of it. Trust that. And now bringing to mind an image of the earth. As we recognize and know all that is happening right now on this planet and the fear that is being stirred up, I invite you to envision a ball right in front of you, the earth as a small ball. And placing your hands up as if facing the earth as if to bless it. We send energy from our hearts to all those who are in fear related to this pandemic, to all those who are sick, to all those who are separated from their loved ones as a result of the virus. We send them love, we send them healing energy, we send them light. And so imagine rays of light moving from your heart, down your arms, and out your hands, and blessing the earth with light, with love, with healing energy. Say a silent blessing to the planet and to all beings right now. Transforming darkness into light. transforming fear into faith. We as a community have that ability simply with our intention and our love. And so I'm knowing that we are able to do that as we all, no matter where we are on Facebook Live, no matter where you are on the planet right now, you are sending that love and that light, and it is transforming and it is healing. And now as you place your hands out in front of you as if the earth is in the palms of your hands. And just imagine that. Imagine the earth is right there in the palms of your hands. And that loving energy from your heart moving through down your arms and into your hands, and it is blessing that beautiful planet of ours. And now bringing your hands to your heart. Imagine bringing that earth right into the center of your chest, loving it, surrounding it with light and with love. And so I'm knowing right here, right now, that our planet is blessed, that we are blessed as a community. I am knowing that this love that we feel within the center of our being goes out and it touches the planet and it holds this center. It surrounds this center. It blesses this center. Imagining the center here with all the beautiful beings, our members and our friends and everybody. Imagine that they too are within your heart. Imagine surrounding them and enveloping them with love and with light. And so we just take a breath and we feel that. And we trust and know what is unfolding for this beloved community. We trust and know that Spirit has our back always and is guiding us every step of the way. And now see a doorway in front of you. Envision a doorway right there and see yourself stepping through that doorway. Stepping through as a center, as a community, and as an individual. And as you step across that threshold, as you step through that doorway, you are saying yes. You are saying yes to your life. You are saying yes to what is possible. You are saying yes to what Spirit has in mind for you. And trust that. As you step over that threshold, as you move through that doorway, trust what is unfolding. And be in thanksgiving for that. There's so much that is unfolding that we cannot see, and yet we have to trust. So trust that. And say, thank you, God, thank you, life. Thank you for exactly where I am, for I know the absolute perfection of it. And just take a breath. Just take a breath, breathing all that in. And gently coming back to this space, wherever you are at home. Feeling the energy of that. And so as I step into my new adventure, I invite you to do the same. This talk is called We Were Born to Fly, because each one of us were born to fly. Every single one of us. There's no mistakes that we are here on this planet at this time, experiencing exactly what we're experiencing. And so I invite you to have the courage to truly step out, to align with Spirit, to say yes to your life. I'm going to end with a beautiful passage by Sylvia Castillo. And Barbara made these bookmarks for us. And on one side is Val's beautiful poem. And on the other side is this passage by Sylvia Castillo. And I will have these up in the lobby, and when you're here, you can pick one up. Your dream is calling with an invitation to a brand new experience of life. Patiently waiting for your permission to own your gifts, to accept your truth, longing for you to step into the greatness of who you are and who you came here to be. You have within you every resource you need, the power, the intelligence, the skill, the integrity, the heart, and the ability to soar into the destiny that awaits you. Say yes. And choose this day to make your dreams a reality. You were born to fly. So I want to end with some thank yous and some acknowledgments. I want to thank each of you for what you have given me over the last 4 years. It has truly been an honor to serve here. Thank you for all that you've given me, for your support, for your encouragement, for your love. There's a few beings here, and I thank you for showing up. Thank you. To my beloved Greg, who has hung in there with me over the last 3 months and all that this has brought to my life. Thank you. Being a minister is truly the best job on the friggin' planet. Truly. Thank you for allowing me to be here, to make mistakes, and to yet still support me and love me. Thank you. I want to thank the board. We have an extraordinary board who works so hard to make this center work. Thank you for your dedication and your commitment. Thank you to all the volunteers who make this center work. My goodness, do we have people who show up to set up, to clean up, to empty trash, to make the coffee, to do all of it. Thank you, thank you. To our beloved practitioners who show up with such heart and such grace and such love. Thank you, thank you. And to all of you as a community. This community is about you. It isn't about me. It isn't about any minister. It is about the community. And what an extraordinary community this is. Love indeed lives here. And trust and know that this love is going to carry you forward in extraordinary ways. Blessings to you all. I love you. So let's do one last prayer. I'm going to ask Val to come up. So I'm going to have her play her flute a little bit, and then I'm going to pray us out. And so in this moment, we feel such gratitude. Gratitude for this opportunity to come together, surrounded by the beautiful light that is God, holding us, guiding us forward in our life, giving us the courage, giving us all that we need to be able to say yes to our lives, to be able to fly, to be able to spread our wings, to be able to move forward in powerful and amazing ways. And so I am knowing that this community is blessed. I am knowing that this community is held always, for love indeed does live here. And so I am grateful for all that is taking place and all that will continue to take place, for I know that this community is up to great things. This community is solid and held in that love and in that light. And so I just let this go, and I trust and know that Spirit is here always, that that powerful force of God is holding all of us on our journey, both individually and collectively. And so I let this go, I allow it to be, I hand it over to Spirit and say, thank you, God, thank you, life, and so it is.
So it is.
to our time of offering, and because many of you are online, we're gonna be doing this now for a bit. We're not sure how long we're gonna be doing Facebook Live, but there's still ways to give. We've gotten that question already, and so I wanted to point that out. So one of the ways is simply snail mail. You can mail your offering to us. We will gladly accept that. You can also go onto our website, and the website is on the screen, and that website you can do PayPal, and then you can also text. So thank you for what you give to this community, especially in the weeks and months to come. Although we may not be joining together physically, we are still going to remain connected with you. We are still going to work hard as a community to maintain connection. And I think, wow, let's be creative. We're going to have to be creative, but I am trusting and knowing that this is still going to unfold perfectly, and that we are all in this together. Yes? So I just thank you in advance for what you give, for what you are sharing, your love and your light and your financial means with this community. Thank you so much. We love you. And so let's stand for our final benediction. And at home, you can join us. Many know this, but so we're not going to hold hands. Those that are here, or are we? Some are holding hands. Okay. Let's just know all is well, and let's just do this together. Okay. I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me knows in the presence of God. I now listen, so that whoever speaks with me knows that I hear the voice of God. Whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and I are one eternally, and so it is. Blessings to all. Love you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Song.
I know.